Hey there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and today I'll be doing a double reaction to The Battle Rages On by Deep Purple, followed up by The Last Leaf by Blackmore's Night. I'm excited for these two, getting to hear Deep Purple and Blackmore's Night back to back. It always gives me unique perspectives on both the groups themselves as well as the era for the release of these tracks. And with The Battle Rages On in mind, I don't think I've actually listened to a single track off of this record, so this will be my first time hearing what that's all about. I'm excited to check it out, but before we do that, a massive thank you to Graham the Funky for making this donation request. Now, let's jump in. The Battle Rages On. I like this album cover too. Green and purple. Cool dragon. Ooh. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, this is gonna be a cool riff. Oh, this is a cool riff.
In so many words, so much to say. Words are not enough to keep the guns at bay.
Dude, I love this riff.
Some live in fear, some do none. Some gamble everything on who gets the final shot. Don't talk to me of love.
Oh, section change. Whoa. It's almost like the riff in this section is kind of inverted.
Don't talk to me of love. It's obvious, it's not enough. Annihilation, kill 'em all. Capitulation. Watch the mighty fall. Home to glory. There's lightning red. Though the reason now is gone. The battle rages on. Was it love or hate that got here first? Hate to have.
You know, weirdly, you guys may disagree with me, but I am getting hints of Axl Rudy Pell in this song, hints of Ozzy Osbourne, and hints of Black Sabbath. Not all of those things at at their like logical extremes, but bits and pieces from each. I can't explain why. If you agree with me, then you agree.
Love or hate that got here first? Hate to have it. It's hard to shake the curse. Heal to live to die.
Love the organ here.
You let the strong survive.
Ooh.
Don't talk to me.
Oh yeah.
Be serious. It's not enough. Annihilation. Kill 'em all. Capitulation. Watch the mighty fall. Road to glory. The lightning red. Though the reason now is gone.
Oh yeah.
Battle rages on.
Oh. Come on. This is awesome. gotta pause out here. There's so many like little structural things that I'm noticing in this song that is making it that much more catchy when the riffs uh, come to roost. Um, it's especially in that like last section right there. You can hear the organ chords, and it, for the most part, was a kind of standard progression looped over with the riffs whenever they would play. And even when we switched from the first set of riffs to the second set that were kind of inverted, you can still hear the consistency in the chord progression in the organ. Only in that most recent last section did we hear any movement upwards or ascension upwards in the organ itself. And it almost feels like the melodic floor of the track started to raise and move. And you can almost think of that floor of a track being like the lows in the mix tends to be the bass in a lot of productions. Where you hear this bass, it serves as your rock and everything else gets to bounce off of that. Here, when the melodic floor starts to raise with these massive organ chords, it feels like the song is starting to really brighten up. And then you stack on top of that the cool guitar work and the previous solo section. It feels like we've entered a sort of new world, even for this song that is very riff heavy. So let's see where it goes. Ooh. Oh, the back and forth. Oh, and together. Yeah. I love the riffs in this song. You hear the organ, right? Again. It's really brightening. It's a really cool ambiance in this song. And I know this is the self-titled track, and I believe it's also the album opener song, which is it's just a great way to start off a record. Super riff heavy, very fun. I love the energy in this one. It's consistent across the board, and we of course get the moment for the solo. And I think what really stands out in this track is those riffs, but more importantly, when we have that like consistent riff holding pattern where you hear it over and over again, the repetition sinks in, and it allows for future sections where you switch away from the riffs to hit that much harder. And I think it was at the 3-minute 45 4-minute mark where we were ascending, right? That's when I made my initial comment of the chord progression kind of rising and getting a little bit brighter. We rose, and then we kind of maintained. Once we like reached the top, we maintained that bright feeling until we decided to descend again later. But there was a moment of like the floor being here, and then we started climbing, and then the floor was just at a new level. Yeah, if that makes sense, then I don't have to do any more explaining on that front. But really fun song. I really like this one. Absolutely gets added to my gym playlist. But now let's check out Blackmore's Night. The Last Leaf. And of course we open up with some acoustic. Medieval acoustic, I should say. I loved medieval times, learning about it.
There's a tree in an open field. Branches reach for the sun.
Oh wow, her breath is so...
With the green of 1,000 leaves.
It's like she's whispering
and
almost.
world that has just begun. Oh, the springtime is here again. Buds and blossoms above. Promises of the future days. A new life that is all around.
Oh, I love that.
See the last leaf
Great melody.
shivering as the winds did blow.
And we get the flute now.
Holding tight to what she knew, the fear of the unknown.
And, you know, a song like this makes me want to like become a blacksmith and, you know, work on the fields with my wife, just supporting our family, saving enough crop for the winter.
Soon the spring turned to summertime. She could never deny how she loved her home up there in between the earth and sky. Still to drift on a summer breeze was to taste paradise.
Candace's vibrato is so excellent.
Summer breeze was to taste paradise. But that summer would turn to fall, and the autumn would turn to ice. See the last leaf shivering as the winds did blow, holding tight to what she knew, the fear of the unknown.
The multi-layering. Oh, and then Richie, man. This is a beautiful song. Oh, I love that little ascending run.
The harvest of golden days.
Also, it's important to note, like I haven't commented on it, but in this song so far, the background acoustic melody has just been consistent throughout. So I'm pretty sure we are in the exact same chord progression throughout the entire 2 minutes 40 seconds we've listened to, which means the song is just developing kind of laterally, melodically. We're just bouncing in this melodic holding pattern again. I like that terminology, holding pattern. And then when Richie decides to then add another acoustic layer, it almost like bounces off of that layer in moments and finds moments of unison as well. It's hard to like articulate which specific notes in the progression are being played in unison versus harmonized or just diverging slightly. But those moments texturally create really unique feelings in my mind.
In the harvest of golden days, leaves were turning to fire.
Yeah.
Dancing upon the autumn breeze like a princess on the highway. One by one, though the dancers dove,
I like that.
smiling to the ground, carried off on a winter wind, disappearing without a sound.
Wow.
See the last leaf
leaf shivering as the winds did blow,
Wow.
holding tight to what she knew, fear of the unknown. So the last leaf took to flight as the winds did blow, holding tight to what could be, finally letting go.
Oh, I really like that. That is a really beautiful song. I feel like every time I get to hear Candace sing and I just get to really focus on her singing, the more and more impressed I am by her. She has an amazing head voice, an amazing chest voice. When she tries and successfully, uses vibrato, it feels perfectly consistent. Like if I were to literally measure the distances in, the amplitude, for example, from wavelength to wavelength, it would be a one-to-one mapping every time. It's almost like robotic the way she does it, but it sounds so beautiful that it feels more artistic than it does technically impressive. Another thing is I love when not only she sings well and adds the vibrato, but you can hear in this track, especially in those chorus moments, she's adding more vocal layers to the mix, kind of panning out and widening out the thickness of the track, of the volume of her voice. And in a weird kind of way, even if she wasn't singing breathy, adding so many more layers around her that are herself adds a bit of breathiness, a bit of width to the track. Now stack on top of that the fact that she is using a bit of a breathier tone with those added layers. It creates a really cool, like, I don't know, imagine like a floating star in the universe, and instead of like the flames and the gas being the outside, it's like the breathiness of Candace's vocal performance, and then the inside is that like Richie Blackmore core in the acoustic melody. Maybe that is one of my weirder analogies I've used to describe the planet that is Blackmore's night. I really like this one. It was a simple melody overall. Like I wasn't surprised by anything melodically. I kind of expected Richie to maybe have a bigger role in terms of the acoustic guitar. But no, he played his role perfectly. He was consistent in the back, and then the moments where he decided to shine, he was able to add these melodies that were pleasant. They fit the scale and gave a bit of additional texture. But all that to say, it wasn't that complicated at all. In terms of structure, it was fairly simple. In terms of melodies, it was fairly simple. And simple can be a good thing. And when you have a good melody, keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes there's this like innate tendency, maybe within us all, to want the most extreme version of every single song, like whether it's a reaction, for example. I see people who are like, man, we want you to like you didn't like react hard enough to this thing. You didn't show enough emotion. And not everything has to be the most extreme version of itself. Something can just be enjoyable. Something can just be pleasant, and we can exist in that holding pattern to perfectly capstone the reaction. But I hope you enjoyed this one today. We had two very different tracks, one that was very riff heavy, another one that was very melodically pleasant. Both were enjoyable for different reasons. But yeah, that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed my reaction and would like to make a request yourself, you can do so by clicking the first link in the description box below. But as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.